I'd like to call to order the regular session of the Tourism Board on June the 10th. Victor, if you want to take roll call.
Sure. Camilla Campbell?
Here.
Tom Kress?
Here.
Amanda Luttrell?
Here.
Scott Zukas?
Here.
Cy Michaels?
Here.
Okay, on the first part of the agenda be petitions or communications, oral or written. Do we have any at this time?
Tom, this is Phil. I got a little information on the Fisher's Peak. Last time in the meeting, you asked, or somebody asked, if we can get an update as to what's happening with Fisher's Peak. So what we've done is we've gone out and we've asked the partners if maybe we can include someone from the Tourism Board on one of the groups. So we're still waiting to hear. I'm sure that'll happen, but we just maybe you guys need to consider who may want to be on that on one of the commission groups. So that would be something you guys can consider. And as far as Fisher's Peak, this morning at 8 o'clock, Senate Bill 3, which is Fisher's Peak, passed through first reading through the appropriations. It goes on now to second reading and third reading by probably tomorrow morning. And then it goes to the Senate probably either Thursday or Friday for them to confer with the Senate to confer with what the House has agreed to. So we'll just see. It's got a few things to go through. As you know, it started out at $6 million. We dropped to 4 and down to 1. But at least we were getting. Sounds like we might end up getting something for infrastructure moving forward.
Okay, thank you. That's something that we could talk about in a work session about somebody going on that when you find out some more information for us.
Will do.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else under petitions and communications, oral or written?
Just the spirit of the city. So there's been some people talking about maybe wanting Fridays and Saturday nights with extra tables and chairs and stuff outside of the downtown area, and maybe some advertising to help encourage people to come to Trinidad. I don't know if we can be helped and do that flag any, and what is everybody's opinion about trying to do just regular community-minded things for our city at this time?
Camilla, do you have any ideas since you're in the downtown area? Is Camilla on?
I'm here, but my speaker was off. There you go. So I don't know nothing about that at all. No one has mentioned anything to me about. Are you talking about closing the streets?
No,
Well,
it just happened. Oh, go ahead, Si.
I'm sorry. There's been different facets that have been introduced to me. Apparently downtown Denver's doing it. I heard Raton and some other communities in northern New Mexico were considering it. It's just a special day, one day a week, to have something downtown and to be able to allow the downtown merchants who may not always put things outside their building, is to be able to put a couple tables and chairs out there. I don't even know if this is a good idea or not, but enough people have asked me, a handful of people have asked me about what we can do for tourism in the downtown area. And I'm just kind of putting it out to our board. What does our board think? What can we do?
Okay, I have not heard anything about that side. Maybe me and you could talk sooner, because right now, as far as downtown, there's not too many merchants are open right now. I could give you the 2 that are open, and there are several that are still closed. So I don't know. Maybe will start opening up, but right now they're not opened up.
Yeah, no, I agree about the merchants themselves, but as an incentive to allow the restaurants that are open. I know Moose's has their own deck. A few people have asked me if they could have a deck. Smokehouse, the Cita's, the cafe, Coley's is still blocked off. Mario's is kind of open. The LA Grill, just to be able to support some of those businesses to come come downtown more, and then maybe perhaps people coming downtown, it would encourage the merchants to do something on openings. They could open with a few people in each store. I just want to make sure that our community knows how much the tourism board is behind them and trying to do things even when we're stressed for money.
Hey, Cy, this is Phil. You mentioned that there are a few of the businesses or the restaurants that would like to have those outdoor patios like Moose's has. We do have, I do believe, 2, possibly 3 that was never been made, but we're checking into that. But I think we have 2 that are available now. So if anybody would like to inquire, they could probably call Mike and ask him the process.
Okay, so I will pass that on, and any of you that somebody might ask that now, since that's just been the last few days, let's pass that on to everybody.
Amanda, do you have a say on that?
Well, we just opened up last week, and I'll tell you this, we do still have some people that are passing through. It's not nearly as many as I saw last summer during this time, but we definitely have tourists that are coming in and wanting to grab something to go. I know Jay at Los Animas Grill is doing live music every Saturday out on the sidewalk. And so I think that it's summertime, we can encourage, we have a beautiful climate. I think we can encourage a little more of that outdoor spacing. But then again, it really up to the businesses what they're willing to contribute, or if they're willing to have people outside. So I guess my question for you, Sai, is exactly what do you mean by tables? Do you mean like we would supply the tables and find places to put them, or we would just reach out and encourage them?
We would just
sidewalk kind of services?
No, just to encourage them to do some outdoor activities.
To encourage them,
right.
And so,
right.
Or promote what they're doing, if anybody's doing anything at all. Except for,
and I think that it's a great thing to, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's okay. As an example, the Purple Toad has some tables and chairs outside of it. And I cannot tell you how many times people have come back to the hotel saying, we drove all over town, thank goodness. And I feel bad because the smokehouse is opening now. If they could have 2 tiny tables that they could provide for themselves, comes right out of their business, a normal table, just to pull out while they're serving so that people could sit outside of their place. And, all these places, Stevens is putting their tables outside now too. But just to give that flavor so when people and guests are coming into town, they can get food service and feel like our town is really warm and open. I mean, Main Street is so beautiful right now with space to create, kind of putting in their windows and stuff, just to encourage that. So I just don't want to be that we don't have any money left, because a lot of homes don't have money either. I don't want to be the person that just because we don't have money to spend that we're trying to help promote tourism in our downtown area by, just doing something community minded. And it's not that we have chairs and tables. Everybody that has a restaurant already has chairs and tables inside their restaurant. They could just pull out for a few hours. But just to make our community better accessible to those people that are coming through and getting food.
I agree with you, Si, but I think that's up until the Main Street restaurants downtown on Main Street and Commercial to communicate with each other. I mean, we could help them try to communicate with each other, but Moose's and the Smokehouse have got to communicate to each other if they want to do something like that. Because right now they are very busy, both of them. So,
yeah, right, exactly.
If we want to advertise that they're opened and they're doing business, that's one thing. But as far as one night a week, I think that would have to come from each one of them to get together. The merchants want to get together. We want to have a meeting, but so far we're not open. So we can't have that meeting to get together if no one is open. And right now, I'm going to be honest with you, me and Marsha on the corner is probably the only two that are open downtown. There is nobody else.
Well, I think we could work with the restaurants right now from, until the businesses do open. So I think the ways that we could probably help is we could use the radio ads that we have, and maybe we can get some ads in the Chronicle as to what's going on downtown on the weekends. Maybe one ad, maybe Amanda could get with Marty again and maybe try to keep that budget down, but to do a little advertising that way, maybe that's the way we could help. Scott, do you have anything to say?
Yes, a little different take on it than perhaps Camilla. When we look at the smaller seating areas just east of where Bella Luna is, that alleyway, just east of the, I'm sorry, I don't know what this area is called, just east of the Miners Museum. There's some seating areas there. Maybe to kind of go with what Cy is suggesting, the intent or the flavor, maybe we can get some musicians to just come out and play music for an hour. I think they call it street busking is the term or something like that. And we can, perhaps support them with a little bit of money, and they can, put the hat out there. Perhaps that kind of thing, which is a bit of a expansion of what Jay is doing at Los Animas Grill. I did notice at Central Park that the children's play area is now all unleashed, if that's the correct term. It was all taped off during coronavirus, and now that's open. And I have not been over to the other park yet to see what's going on with the skate park and see if there's, and we may just do things where we go to the park, have a few musicians play there in the evening when people are out walking, let it go on for an hour, have them pick up and leave, and then put that on our website that we did that, put that on the, maybe in the Chronicle News or something like that, to just warm up the area and get people to want to come out. I think it's a great idea. Expanding on what Cy suggested, I think there's actually tables and seats. We want to fill them.
Phil, could you tell us if any of the parks are open? Open?
I know they're supposed to be at this time because I know the governor was allowing them to open, but we can find out for sure they should be open. But I just wanted to mention something about this, what you're attempting to do. I think your first step should be to establish a day, and I don't know what everybody's thoughts are on your commission, but during the week it would be difficult because there's a lot of commerce going on, businesses that have to go downtown. You may want to consider either a Friday afternoon or maybe a Saturday, or maybe consideration of maybe closing off some of the streets where people could wander around and open it up. That way, the businesses that some of those businesses aren't impacted that require like attorneys or whatever that are downtown. So I believe that maybe Saturdays might be a good day in the afternoon and into the evening, and kind of create a good environment. I think that's something that would be, but plan on a particular day and try it for a few weeks and see what happens. But you guys need to, plan on a day and then let everybody know.
I did see what was going on down at the grill and Mario's Tacos. They did have a band on both sides of the street at different times, and it seemed like it was a pretty good crowd, and there was some social distancing going on there, which I thought was pretty good. And I think a lot of people brought their own chairs and just kind of sat there, so it is kind of a good deal.
Well, you can even check with Mike or Audra and see what Mike probably, and maybe closing off the streets, like I said, maybe for that afternoon and evening. So it opens it up.
Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Scott.
If we're kind of what I've been reading from the governor, that he postponed this safer at home status for a month, and anticipating the 4th of July coming up, which is a Saturday this year, maybe what the mayor is suggesting, we could kind of plan something for the 2nd and the 3rd, Thursday and Friday, in hopes that we get more of a opened up society, and be prepared to come out with great weather. And of course that leads into a holiday weekend, and that gives us a couple weeks to plan.
That's a great idea. So right now, everybody, bar any drought danger, the Main Street group is doing the fireworks, the fantastic fireworks that they do every year. So barring any, last minute because of drought, there will be fireworks, but nothing will be going on at the park. But if you invite your aunts and uncles from Pueblo and Cimarron and the surrounding area to Trinidad, you can sit in your backyard and still have fireworks, and maybe just walking around downtown during the day. Spatial distancing and everything. And I did see that weekend, Amanda, too. Jay did a great job, and so did Mario, in that they really brought a lot of, somebody said warmth, that was a good terminology. They brought a lot of warmth to the downtown area with that.
Keep in mind too that, Scott, you had a good idea there, but regardless of the safer at home rule, there's a lot of people moving around, coming from out of town, tourists, and I think that for the most part, I may be wrong, but I think their Fridays and Saturdays are probably the times when we get the most of the tourists coming to the area. So that's why I was thinking about either a Friday afternoon or Saturday to do what I suggested.
And to add in there, we probably need to look at some of the summer construction, that which is going on in the city, and then accessibility into the city, and see if that stuff is postponed, if it's continuing on, and look at how that hampers the, let's just say, look at the logistics on that upcoming holiday weekend.
Social distancing is important. We have been vigilant about it at the hotel, but our occupancy, because of other things that we've done, has been, relatively good lately, and we have not had any problems at any of the hotels, and we've all been vigilant about social distancing and cleaning of rooms. And so, as we morph into this new way of life, we just have to learn how to be socially distant. But the warmth of downtown, and I know that Mario's and the ice cream shop did pretty well, because I walked in and asked Michelle at the ice cream shop, and so that those bands and the things that those owners did help bring just the local people who aren't driving out of town downtown. It's not even, and it's true, we bring in tourism, but if somebody lives locally and hasn't spent any money locally, and they haven't been out of town, to be able to do that downtown gives a way to transfer the money from their pockets into the hardworking entrepreneur owners that are downtown.
I think these are all good things. I think in our next work session, maybe we could come up with some things that we could do, and look at it then. Is there anything else from anybody?
Hey, Tom, the only thing I was going to say, because of the time, it's already into June, and the time is of the essence, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And our next meeting is the 22nd of June, and maybe we could plan something for June, or would you like to have the work session a little bit early, or a special session?
No, that's a good point. Having a session earlier, even if it's a breakout session from us, would be a good idea. I just really want to make sure that that we as leaders of tourism are still doing things for our area, even if we don't have money to spend.
Okay, anybody else on any of that? Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes for May the 13th? We could do approval on them.
I would. Has everybody read the minutes?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody okay with them?
I motion to approve the minutes.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Victor, you want to take roll on that?
Yes. Campbell,
Yes.
Kress,
Yes.
Latrell,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
The next thing on the agenda is the financials, review of projected revenues and expenditures through COVID-19. And we will take that one on first. And the financials, approval of invoices. Did everybody invoices? Any questions on any of the invoices?
I don't have any questions on any of the invoices. I'm just concerned about, our labor dollars for the future. I understand that Jeff's not working with us right now.
I talked to Mike Valentine this morning, and I guess talking with the health department, and they did do some of the things that they wanted them to do down at the Welcome Center, and she got together with the gentleman from safety, and they want to do a soft opening on Tuesday, and she feels she's going to need Jeff to come on board with her to be able to move forward with the soft opening. That's the information that I got today.
Okay, my question is, their soft opening, are they going to open 7 days a week, or do we maybe a soft opening just open a few days a week right now?
Mike didn't have any information on that for me. He just the information that I passed on to you now is what he gave me. So that's what we're going on now. Is Jeff will be going back over there on Monday or Tuesday, and they're getting ready for a soft opening on Tuesday. And that's all Mike can give me.
I'd just like everybody to really, when we embrace that, is that at I think about $120,000 a year it costs the tourism board to run the Welcome Center. That's $325 a day, or a little bit more. So it's costing us $325 a day to keep it open. So just put that number in the back of your head, so if we start hurting even more, how we deal with that expenditure.
I think we need to have a discussion if we're going to keep this thing open 7 days a week right now. I think we ought to go with the soft opening, but I like to know what Marty has intended, what she means for a soft opening.
Vic, did she express anything to you, Vic, as to say to us about the Welcome Center?
No, she didn't say anything about it at all. But I could check with Audra in a couple of minutes and see if any messages were relayed to her before Marty left.
Because that, like I said, I talked to Mike this morning, and that was the information that he had given to me, and I expressed to him about the budget, and Jeff coming back over to the Welcome Center, which is he'll be put back on the payroll of the tourism board. So
let me find out real quick, okay? I'm just gonna pause myself and then I'll let you guys keep discussing it.
okay,
Yes,
go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, looking at the previous meeting, the minutes of the previous meeting, and then actually somebody stopped by my my business yesterday and was talking about it. I like the idea of the Welcome Center director kind of, running things and being autonomous, but at the same time, it's like the tourism board should have a little better handle on what's happening at the Welcome Center. I kind of want to lean towards Camilla I agree with her on this point. Doing a soft opening, I think right now is a smart thing. When I look at the previous meetings, it talked about possibilities of things going on in the future, but it appears, as I'm receiving the information, she's going full bull ahead and cranking it to get it open. And I just don't think that the tourism board collectively has had a chance to look at this and had input on it.
Go ahead, Si.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Thank you, Scott. Mayor, how do you feel about it?
Well, firstly, I think you need to determine what do you mean by soft opening, days of the week, hours of the day. I think it's a good idea, provided that you could answer those questions.
And so it's about us doing right by the community and also everyone being a business person.
Well, the big thing is, as you know, through this COVID-19, because of the governor as well as the local health department, they were discouraging, tourists to travel into the area. Now that we're opening up, we need to figure out a way to welcome these people back and allow them an opportunity to stop in.
Does anybody have any? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that we need to hone in on our busiest days of tourism as well. Fridays and Saturdays, like Mayor Rico said, are the days where we see people coming through restaurants, coming through town, looking for things to do. And I think, with just like all of our businesses are doing, we're weaning ourselves into things. And I think Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, the weekends, are the biggest time for tourism right now. That's the time that people are getting out, and that we should have a resource for them to go to.
One of the things I could say about when we have Marty and we have Jeff, we have two full-time employees at the Welcome Center. One of the things is that we brought Jeff on because Marty was having too much on her schedule, and this is why we brought Jeff on. One of the things you have to look at is the fact that he's having to go back to work now because of the situation, the COVID-19. So there's probably, they both have to be on board to take care of certain things. I know that the center is helped by 26 volunteers, but then again, we don't know what the health department, what's the limit of people coming in there, what's the limit of volunteers plus the two full-timers. I don't know the size of the building. So, there's a lot of questions that I'm asking that Marty not being here, she can't answer them. So,
Hey, Tom.
Go ahead.
So I talked to Mike, and Mike said that they're not bringing back the volunteers. It's just going to be Marty and Jeff, and it's not going to be open 7 days a week, and it's just going to have limited hours. I asked him if they had an idea of hours and days that it's going to be open, and he said they're just going to try to do it with trial and error and kind of see how it goes as far as what days are going to be open and what days are going to be closed.
But why is the city manager deciding that when it's the tourism board that funds the Welcome Center? This should be our baby. This should be something that we collectively decide.
Not to interrupt you, Scott, but the city does partake in part of the funding of the Welcome Center, and this is Marty and Mike having a conversation, and he didn't relay some of that information to me. He just the information that I relayed to everybody is what he told me. This is other information that I didn't know. Phil, do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I go back to what I was saying, and even Amanda, and I think a good discussion would be to have with Mike and just make a suggestion and say, like the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday opening would be ideal from what your perspective as what you consider a soft opening. If you want to open all day, if you want to open from 10 to 5 or whatever, I think it could be worked out. But I think a call to Mike and just a suggestion from your end, see which can be worked out, because otherwise things will get pretty convoluted. So just keep that communication open with Mike.
I might suggest doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because Monday, believe it or not, is a big day for me, guys, downtown. A lot of tourists traveling, a lot of tourists will stop, a lot of tourists will ask for restaurants. A lot of tourist restaurants are closed on Mondays, and I have a very difficult time telling people where to go on Mondays. And they're headed home, and Mondays they stop in Trinidad. So that's one way I would like to acknowledge to keep things open on Monday also.
I agree. I have to concur with you on that. Statistics, even for us at the hotels, people always say that about Mondays, that be closed and stuff. But one of our biggest days in the last few weeks is always on Mondays.
I always encourage everybody to stay open on Mondays. It's beyond me why knowing that many restaurants are closed on Mondays. I know they love to have a day, but the amount of people that come in looking for restaurants, it's amazing to me.
So the travelers on Mondays, for everybody that's sitting in on this conversation that we see at the hotels, are the snowbirds or the elderly. They don't travel very much on Fridays and Saturdays anymore. They'll travel on Sunday night and go downtown on Monday, or travel on Monday because they get better hotel rates, and they think they avoid the crowd. So Monday has been an important day for us at the hotels.
The other thing you do is to figure, look at your hours of operation instead of being open, 10 or 12 hours a day. Take a look at what is best for hours of operation to keep that soft opening to what Mike is talking about too, because it may not be necessary to, like on Friday, to open at 8 o'clock. I really don't know. That's up to you guys. You guys have those statistics. But take a look at your hours of operation to see what's the best.
Thank you.
I am so sorry. The only thing I really wanted to add is because I heard Scott earlier, and I really wanted to explain that since he's a new member. So the operation of the Welcome Center costs about $120,000 a year, and in the last 2 years, the city has given us $50,000 a year to help offset those costs. So this coming year, is one of the things we asked the city is if we were going to get that 50 again. Maybe the mayor could speak to that. But just so that you and Amanda both understand, that's kind of how the funding works right now. So this past year, because everything was so good, we didn't know or think if we would get money from the city to operate any more of the Welcome Center. So, and it was up in the air if we would. Now with everything that's happened, I'm not quite sure if the city will give us another $50,000 helping for the operation, or because we have 70 of our own money in, how we feel about that operation.
At this point in time, just to let you know, our budgeting process starts in August, and we will probably start. Staff will start looking at funding. So probably won't be able to tell you until probably August or early September what's available to you guys.
So I certainly appreciate hearing that, sharing that little bit of information, without pushing to say, well, it's a 30%, 60% expense kind of thing. It really goes to set aside the financials from I guess from my experience in coming forward, what I would see is the Welcome Center, as I understand it, is part of the tourism board, and so the tourism board should be the dog and not the tail in this instance. And I probably want to dig my heels in it, because I don't see where the director of the Welcome Center should be answering to the tourism board and reporting there, and at the same time reporting to the city manager. It's convoluted, and it's not efficient, and quite honestly, it doesn't do any justice to the tourism board.
Phil, do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I do. Just keep in mind that the facility is owned by the city. Like I said, we do have input, and they do. There always has been a working relationship between the Welcome Center and the City Hall, and in order for it to operate efficiently and to move efficiently, there needs to be open communication as to what everybody's doing. It's not a his or hers. It's a we. So I think we need, you guys need to look at it that way, or Scott, you need to look at it that way. It's not that the director, in a sense, does answer to
The city manager.
The city manager, because he does have a say in it. So I think it's probably maybe some, that would be a limitation that I think that needs to be worked out between the city manager and you guys.
Well, and I want to, before I'm misunderstood, I certainly want to agree with that. But when Victor comes and it's already been decided and this is what they're doing, and now all of a sudden we're the tail of the dog, and well, that's exactly my point. Mr. Mayor, what you said, totally agree with that. There should be open dialogue between both sides. We do have a vested interest, both parties do. We want to work together on this. But, for the city manager to just say, hey, this is what's happening, that part's not right.
Keep in mind that, we are currently operating in an unknown arena, and what the new opening is, and what the new how things are going to move forward. Everybody's still up in the air, so we're having to make decisions kind of on the fly here, and it's just like I said, the only way to move through those and to not create any issues is to, like I said, is to keep that line of communication open. That's the only way we're going to establish a new how we're going to operate, a new way of operating.
And I'd like to add that I think if Marty was here, she probably would have given us that information right away without us hearing it from Victor through Audra, if just so be it that she was not here. I think we could all maybe receive an email explaining this a little bit better when they had the meeting, but if Marty was here today, we probably heard about this through her. It's just unfortunately that she's not here. And I think that's what we kind of maybe all took a deep breath, but I think if she was here, we would have had that explanation to us first thing in the morning.
I agree. Go ahead.
My suggestion is that, just like we have board reports and staff reports, we should have a Welcome Center report moving forward, because like you said, Scott, this is something that we are all invested in, and it's an open piece of communication. And unless we request that communication or request that information, we can't just expect it to be given to us, even though it is something we're invested in. So maybe we can just make a note of that and then make sure that we get some sort of, especially moving forward on times and the soft opening, we can do a kind of like a welcome center report every other week and kind of get updates from there and make that a part of something that we discuss in our meetings and make decisions on.
On a regular basis, she does have a meeting from a report from the Welcome Center. But I agree with Camilla, we should have gotten an email as to what was going to happen in the soft opening, and it would have saved us a lot of time this morning. I will talk to her sometime today and have her sent out an email to everyone as to what's going to happen.
Hey Tom, this is Paul. I was going to mention after the meeting today, I will call Mike and just kind of give him, explain to him what your discussion has been today, so he'll have some information so that when you guys talk to him again.
Okay, on the Welcome Center, it's always been a concern to me about the Welcome Center. When we had the 2 exits there, we had 150,000 visitors in the Welcome Center at one point. When we lost the exit, it's slowly declined. I think for 2019 we had maybe 26,000 visitors. I can't remember if that was the right number or not, but we're into June now. We've been closed for 3 months. What's it going to look like for the remainder of the year? And we've spent $120,000 on the Welcome Center. That's been my concern. So just to let you all know where I feel about it is, it's like if you were running a business, where would you be at this point? So that's kind of the way I see the Welcome Center, and we do need the help of the city to move on. And I think the city runs other entities that they put a lot of money into, and there's not a lot of return. So this is the way we have to look at the Welcome Center also. So I don't know if anybody has any input on that there, or any questions.
I have a statement. I don't know, but if we do a soft opening, and these are the questions we got to ask. So we're open, let's say 4 days a week with 2 full-time employees. When Jeff was working for the city, from what I understand, when it closed down, he went to the city, and the city was paying his wages. I'm not sure on that, but
Yes,
now we're taking his wages back. So we've got 2 full-time employees being open 4 days a week. Are both of them going to be there at the same time? And I know Marty needs to get away every once in a while because she does work for us. She just doesn't work just for the Welcome Center. She does do a lot of stuff for us. But does that justify 2 full-time employees? And I don't want to lose, let's make it known, either one of them. So, because things might get back on track real quick for us, that we could go full-time to a lot of places. So
why did we get rid of the volunteers? I missed that part.
From the understanding from Victor is they're not calling the Welcome Center volunteers back. A lot of them are elderly, and that's probably the reason why.
Yes, that's the reason why.
And
the one that was there yesterday at my office was not elderly. She had a medical issue, but she's no more elderly than I am, I guess.
Well, I don't know the age of all of the Welcome Center volunteers, but most of them are up in age. So maybe I could have her give you a report on that, Scott.
Well, it kind of goes along with what Camilla is saying here. From a business standpoint, it's a tremendous expense. We don't get the visitation that we once did at this Welcome Center. And so these things need to be looked at. I'll just stop there.
I agree with you, Scott.
Go ahead, Amanda.
And my appointment is, I understand they're not bringing the volunteers back, and I understand the reason why they're not bringing them back. And I know that both Marty and Jeff probably have to be there full time, even and there's got to be 2 people in the building at all times. I understand that. So, that I have no problem with it, but it is just something to think about. But I understand where you got to have 2 people in that place. You really do. When you're open, especially for Marty being there alone, and especially for Jeff being there alone. I do believe you need 2 people. So that being said, it's just a lot to consider. And just remember our budget, and we do have 2 full-time employees we are paying. So just remember on our budget, when we give out money, we have to always think about them and the Welcome Center. I'm done.
Any other questions on that or statements?
Nope.
We sat down with Mike and Marty, and Cy and I and Mrs. Navarrete were there, and we talked about the projected revenue through this COVID-19. I don't know if anybody's on that page of the projected the lodging tax. Are you on that page, Cy?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The tourism fund for 2020, the projected revenue and expenses through COVID-19.
Yeah, I do not have it in front of me, but I am familiar with it.
Okay, it kind of, we talked about some of the places where we were going to cut back on to try to save save money for the year, and I think the first payment from the taxes was $46,000. Was that right, Cy?
Yes.
And we were down $20,000 because it was $66,000 for 2019. Is that right?
Right, and I gave everybody caution when you hear that figure that we were down by 20,000. That 20,000 only consisted of 10 days. That's how quickly we lost money.
And
it really only hit Trinidad. Trinidad only started seeing the effects of COVID in the hotels around March 20th, 21st. And that was a reduction, not a complete out. And in that small 10-day period, we lost $20,000. So that's the reason why I wanted to give everybody applause. It was your own home money, and that large amount was automatically lower. Now we're looking at 3 months of it for our July payment, because taxes will be collected April, May, and June, and we will receive them in July. And we know in the city in April there were nil. And so in May we're probably looking at, at least less than half. And then we're into June now, and we are seeing the resurgence, but we're probably seeing the city's probably at a 60-70% occupancy when it's usually at 100, when rates are usually 129 through 169 in Trinidad. And you can hop online right now and look at everybody's rates at 89 to 115, except for maybe Fridays and Saturdays. So, our pocketbook is going to be affected by this.
so these are some of the things that we need to look at going down the road. And the other thing that we did is we cut for new grants for anyone coming in and doing a new venue. We totally took that $20,000 out of the picture, and we're not going to fund anybody on the grants for right now until we actually see what's going to be happening down the road. We do have some grants that are pending, but Marty did let them know that when things start to happen, that there may be money and there may not be money for those grants. And as far as the advertising, we're going to have to cut back on the advertising also. Some of the bigger items that we advertised were in the magazines, and those were for 2019, but they are in the 2020 magazines. And a couple of them, we were able to move them into 2021. So that's the way we have cut this budget down now. And we still don't know if that's going to be enough.
Right. And Tom, you did a fabulous job. I saw most of what you did, and you really did a fabulous job. But the other part that I just want to add is that we've been running on this budget with increases for many years now. And I think it's not just what's going to happen in these 3 months, and then we're getting back to normal. I don't think normal, where hotel costs are going to be up for a few years yet. People are coming back, but the ones that are coming back are expecting more for less money right now because people have less money to spend. So I think a budget of what we've been doing for the last few years is probably going to go back to more like a 5 or 6 years ago budget for next year.
Another thing to look at is we have a $217,000 in reserve, but it's actually taken us probably 10 to 15 years to build to that. And my recommendation is that we don't pull from that reserve, but try to run on the budget that we have in front of us now, and try to hold on to our reserves for what may happen in 2021 as a result of 2020. So, anybody have any questions?
I'd like to chime in. Tom, what you specifically said right there, I agree with you. I could be very conservative from my stance and say that something that's taken us 10 years, even though it's always been set aside, as Cy once said, in case things go boom. Well, in this case, I guess we did get that. To stand back from the trees and kind of look at the bigger picture of the forest here, what we see is our new state park with an initial budget plan of 10 million is now down to 1 million. Tourism is what we're counting on. Tourism is what funds the tourism board and brings people and makes our community vibrant. That's all great, but so we're kind of in a really rock and a hard spot here because the state has reduced the funding. We're not certain what the opening is going to look like. We're not getting a lot of communication there. And that's not tourism that's coming in for sustainability. We're looking for tourism that spend the nights in the hotel and are in our community for, let's say, 2 to 5 days. That's the type of tourism that we're looking for. And we're kind of in a rock and a hard spot here, running out of cash. And, hopefully get the thrust of what I'm trying to say.
Phil,
Scott, this is Phil. You're talking about the Fisher's Peak deal. Like I said, we were planning originally on having a soft opening for Fisher's Peak now in June. Of course, that went by the wayside. We are still planning on hopefully having maybe a soft opening, hopefully later, maybe this summer sometime. I don't know for sure yet. We are in constant meetings with that. The plan is to have a much larger opening early in 2021. We're in the process of the master plan. So we are actually working on trying to see how that's going to work out for 2021. So there still is a good possibility of that 2021 a larger opening, which would of course increase the availability for tourism and people to come into the area and maybe stay them extra day or two.
Wonderful. And I'll just say openly to the rest of the board that I would be very interested if we need a person to step forward to coordinate with the communications department of the Fisher's Peak committees or whatever. I would like to throw my name in the ring for that.
And that would actually be the I think the area that whoever, like if it's you, Scott, or somebody else, will be in the communications area. So we'll keep you apprised of that.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to move on to new business. KCRT 2021 promotional agreement. Do we want to move forward with that, or do we want to table that for right now?
I'm sorry, which part of the, I'm kind of scrolling back in my notes here to the minutes.
It's under new business.
Yes, I'm just trying to get there.
Can I tell you something, Tony? I don't think we approved the budget, the invoices.
Yes, we did.
Did we? Oh.
Yep.
I don't remember that. Okay, sorry.
And prior to the new business, well, let's back up here. So we were talking about the financials, and then now it gets into some subcategories here: website, Facebook. Is that where we are before the new business?
I'm sorry. We probably didn't approve.
Yeah, those are invoices that need to be approved.
I'm sorry.
That's that.
I jumped the gun there.
Yeah.
Would that be during a regular session or a work session that we approve those?
It's a regular session. It's this session.
Okay.
Did everybody have a chance to look at the approval of the invoices?
I
Yes.
did,
Yes.
and I might make a motion to approve to pay the invoices.
One of the things I'd like to bring up on the invoices was we've had problems with the trolley for as long as we've had it now, and we got it fixed finally, and it cost us $153. So I think that's pretty good that we walked away with a small bill like that.
Yay, Thomas, very good.
Awesome.
Okay, now I understand the format of the minutes, and maybe it's the page break. I'll second Camilla's motion.
Okay, Vic, you want to take roll on that?
Yes. Campbell?
Yes.
Kress?
Yes.
Luttrell?
Yes.
Zekas?
Yes.
Michaels?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now we can move on to new business.
Thank you.
Sure.
The KCRT 2021 promotional agreement. Would we like to move forward with this? Would we like to table it? You're going to have a discussion on it. Sai, you go first.
Well, I'm sorry, say that again, Tom. Which agreement are we on?
We're on the KCRT 2021 promotional agreement. I'm asking if we want to approve it, deny it, or table it for right now.
I think we just need to table and, don't mean anybody harm. It's just like anybody that has their own home. We're operating the home of tourism. We don't really know how things are going to shake up. I totally support local advertisement and in our community, but I think we have to table it to next month.
I think we should table it for right now.
Amanda?
I agree with Sai and Camilla. Just don't really know. We shouldn't be signing any contracts right now, especially for the entire year of 2021 without knowing what to expect for the entire year of 2021. So.
Okay.
And even if it's I'm so sorry, Tom, I just had to add, even if it's a lesser contract and not as expensive as others, we're kind of doing it across the board that way, so I hate to pinpoint people.
Okay.
Tom, you're going to have to give a first and a second motion on those,
Yes.
on that new table to table.
Okay.
I motion to table the KCRT promotional agreement.
And I second it.
Victor, you want to take roll on that? Vic?
His thing is off.
Sorry, I was muting myself. Campbell?
Yes.
Kress?
Yes.
Luttrell?
Yes.
Zekas?
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
The Go Travel Sites, the 2021 agreement.
I
I
make a
think we're in the
motion.
same boat there.
Do we want to table that one also, if somebody wants to make a motion?
I make a motion to table that one table that one.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that, Campbell. Camilla.
There is a due date on that one. It's 6/20, so it's coming up really soon. We probably need to make. I don't know if that's a question for Marty. If we can postpone that due to the circumstances, but the invoice does have a due date on it. It says it's due 6/20. We have to make a decision. So.
We've had
I
a
would
previous
just like to
conversation about some of the encumbrances and whether or not we can get time extensions on those. I guess I feel like I didn't get an update on where we are on those. And of course, in this case, I think we should table it for no other reason than Marty's not present to give us that information.
That is, in my opinion, that is an important contract, but still, we have to table it. I don't know if you've seen the local figures, but I know I went into Chris Newton. We've had that contract with the city of Trinidad for many, many years. And currently, in the last couple of weeks, there's been spikes of 50, 60 people a week looking at Trinidad, which is really great. If all that information that Marty is sending out to people, if she's still been able to do that with the loss of employees, those names are really important, but we still have to table it.
Well, it's okay. Today's only the 10th of June, and the deadline of the 20th is coming up. We can use this technology to, have an emergency look at it. But first, somebody needs to get us the information, I think.
Yeah, you're right. And the reason why I mentioned that, Scott, is because we've had that relationship with GoCo Colorado and Chris Newton for years. I'm sure he would be very understanding if we said we need to table it. We need 30 days to think about it.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Do I have a motion?
Campbell had made a motion, and then is somebody going to second it?
I second it.
Go ahead, Victor.
Okay, Campbell,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Luttrell,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
Okay.
Board reports. Do we have any board reports?
Not here.
Staff reports. We don't have Marty here, so. And it says there on the bottom there, she's awaiting approval from the health department. I gave you some information on that what I had received this morning. So, next meeting, June the 24th of 2020 at 9 a.m.
Sorry, Tom, just to go back, I didn't respond to board reports quite quick enough. I was trying to get that tablet with the minutes on it to open or not to be asleep. The only thing I want to say is I reached out to the city manager about Santa Fe Trail when it was remaining closed and being opened. And I do believe that they're doing the best they can to keep Santa Fe Trail open, which of course provides a lot of access all the way down to exit 11. One of the issues that I see is the signs, even though the road is open, the signs continue to be posted that that the road is closed. And I've asked that be looked at, but it seems consistent that all through last weekend there were signs that said the road was closed, but in fact it was open, and we're kind of doing a disservice to travelers and people using that road.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Scott, because I did go over to the Days Inn for a meeting, and I really felt bad for him because he had had a lot of complaints going in there and they are really trying to work with us in the hotel area. You know, different ownership does different things. I really want to commend the new owners of the Days Inn, formerly the Best Western, and they have really been trying to advertise Trinidad and get people downtown, and they were really stressed because of that in the road.
That's all I had on the board reports. Thank you.
Okay. Next meeting, June the 20th. Adjourn this meeting at 10:07.
Okay, everybody, have a good day.
Hey, thanks. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, bye.
This conference is no longer being recorded.